Hiya guys, this is Az from Integrum Personal Development, and I thought I'd give you a 1 week review of my sugar journey and how it's going so far. So for anyone who's unaware, please see the links below for previous parts of this video. What I'm doing is I'm spending a whole month eating a very excessive amount of sugar, so in excess of 120 grams per day. And I was very surprised, to say the least, how aggressively it has affected me, both physiologically in terms of my body and how I feel in it, and then the mental aspect of it. So let me run you through my week. I started last Wednesday, so it's nearly been a complete week of eating the amount of sugar that I am. And within day one, by the end of day one, I noticed real lifelike effects on me as a person. So the first thing I noticed before anything else was when we went shopping, and I did on my previous video, I sat down and I spoke about the experience I had going out and buying a lot of the foods that I don't buy. And in further reflection of that later on, I can understand why people who eat like what I'm eating like all the time might feel very similar with the adverse. So with buying things like fresh vegetables and buying things in order to prepare fresh meals and all the rest of it. It's so different to what you're used to. And it's not right or wrong, it's just what you're used to doing, what you're programmed to do on a daily basis. And I personally, I'm very used to eating fresh fruit and veg, preparing my own meals, and not consuming a lot of the things that I have been. So it was very much a step out of my comfort zone, just going out and doing the food shop. Moving on from that, actually getting into the week of eating it, the things that kind of cropped up in the first week were most definitely the convenience aspect. I always knew that a lot of people eat this way, things like cereals for breakfast, ready meals for lunch, prepared sauces and all of this, not because they can't cook or they don't want to, but it's the convenience. It's the busyness of life. You have kids, you've got a job, you've got a partner, you've got all these things going on, and it's hard to find the time, and I completely understand that. And I didn't realize just how convenient a lot of these things are. One thing I can say is I have a lot more time. The other day I was running late in the morning, and normally my breakfast would consist of eggs, of some kind of fruit. I'd make myself a coffee. I enjoy my first meal of the day. It sets me up to get going. And I just didn't have time for any of that. But it was fine, because what I had was a bowl of very sugary cereal, and it takes 5 seconds to make. It takes me a couple of minutes to eat, and I'm out the door. It's great. It's very minimal in terms of washing up, and I completely understand if you've got 3 kids to feed first thing in the morning, you're not thinking about making scrambled eggs. You're not thinking about getting them their, healthy fats or porridge oats or all the rest of it. You're thinking convenience, quick, get them ready, get them to school. And I get that. I think the counter argument for it that I will give is certain things are not worth the sacrifice on the other side. So I spoke to a friend of mine who said you can get bottles of Coke cheaper than you can get bottles of good mineral water. And I'm sure you can. I'm not denying it. What I question is why you would. If I had very little money, if I was really tight for cash, it still wouldn't be reason enough, because it's where it sits on your priority lists. For me, healthy eating sits very high on my priorities, and I will not spend money in certain areas of my life, consciously avoid spending money so that I have the money to spend on my nutrition. And that's a personal thing. That's through educating myself and doing a lot of reading on nutrition. I now, with everything I know and everything I'm aware of, I can't consciously decide to take the cheaper, more convenient, but less nutritionally dense route. So that's the whole conversation in terms of the economics. One thing I will say as well on that is a lot of people say they can't afford to eat healthy, but I've found my shops going up in price. Granted, I'm buying the branded stuff in terms of brands of cereals, and I'm consuming breakfast bars, yogurts, etc., all these things. So I could do it cheaper than I'm doing it, but in general, I find my kind of bang for the buck shop, I'm spending a bit more money than I was on my regular standard shopping. In terms of physically, there's not a lot of change in terms of when you look at me. My body fat hasn't particularly changed, my weight hasn't moved, but it's only been a week, so I don't think that's to be expected. However, my energy levels have dramatically shifted. So I'm already very dependent on the sugar for the hourly pick-me-up, the top-up of my energy. I am already struggling to stay alert for the entire day. Particularly in exercise, I find that I'm pumped up to start exercise, and then I get 10 minutes into my workout, 15 minutes, and I'm already starting to lag, which has never been an issue for me before. And I really noticed it, particularly in my martial arts training, that I'm really struggling to complete my 1 hour workout with the same level of intensity at the same kind of threshold limit that I had previously. And nothing else has changed, so I can only put that down to what the sugar in my diet is doing to me. The only other thing I can comment on, I guess, is my mood. My mental clarity is definitely down, so I feel a bit foggier in the mind. I'm not anywhere near as productive as I'd like to be. Like, I wanted to produce quite a few more videos for this series, especially in this first week, but in all honesty, the energy's just not been there to do it. I've just not been motivated enough to do it, and I'm a very self-motivated person. Finding motivation is not an issue for me, but this week it really has been. So that's something that I'm adjusting to, and I think the summary for the week. Actually, let me come back to it. Let's continue on about the mood. Me and JC, my partner who's doing this, he's doing the low sugar version of what I'm doing, and what I'm doing is the high. We said that we were also going to every now and then track our emotional state, and we were just using a number from 1 to 10. 1 being, you know, the brink of emotional breakdown, and 10 being I couldn't be any happier. And I said at the start that I was on about a 9. I was in a really happy place. Everything that I wanted was kind of going the way I did in life. I was a very happy person. It has definitely dropped. It's about, I'd say, a 6 or a 7. The other day I had a really bad day when we spoke about it, and I said I was on a 5. But I'd say in general over the week, I'm on a 7. Which is a thing for me because everything else is still great. Nothing's changed. I've not had any problems since. Nothing has gone wrong this week. It's just the effects of my blood sugar levels going up and down, and how it's affecting my energy, and how my body is dealing with processing it all has clearly taken its toll on me. So my conclusion for week 1, and I will be continuing this on for the month. Week 1 conclusion is definitely that what happens, I think, with people is it's not that, oh, you need sugar or you don't need sugar. It's you get used to it. I am already coming to the end of this week. I'm starting to feel I'm getting used to eating loads of sugar, and I'm getting used to the way it makes me feel. And if that's how you've always eaten, and that's how you've always been, then you don't know any different. And you think that what you feel is normal, because you don't have a point of reference to anything else. I fortunately have a very strong point of reference to what I feel like without sugar in my diet, or with very minimal, very controlled amounts. And I greatly prefer it, to be quite honest with you. I'm very much looking forward to the first week of December, where I will track and let you guys know how it goes, but I plan to detox 100% out of sugar for that week. So another video is coming up this week. And we're going to discuss natural sugars, because it came up with JC because he's still consuming fruits. And it came up, and a couple of people have been mentioning, what about the sugars in fruits? What's the difference between a natural sugar and a processed sugar? So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to make a little video to explain it for everybody and give a bit of clarity on the situation, because we certainly do want to be consuming our healthy fruits. We want to be getting all the micronutrients from it, but we need to understand that sugar does play an element in that part of the journey. So guys, this is Az from Integrum Personal Development. I'll see you guys in the next video. Wishing you well.